Utah 29-3 on the year, the first WAC team to make it to the Final Four since '66 when Utah was here last. Carolina in the white uniforms, 34-3. And it goes to Utah first. Which team will play Kentucky for the championship Monday?
Jai on Doliak down inside. There'll be a lot of banging by Jai.
Medela with an open three, and it rattles home.
That extends the North Carolina defense. Keeps Jamison outside on him. Have to play honest. Keeps him off the defensive boards.
Heard so much about the triangle and two. What's Utah coming out with here?
Straight man-to-man.
Jai with the hook shot and a rebound to Jensen.
Good job by Medela getting up on the boards.
Miller pushes it up, kicks it out, three-point shot, and it's good. Drew Hansen, Utah comes right out with a couple of threes.
Rick Majerus certainly taking what is available early. Post-up move inside by Carter.
Carter, what a move. Off the glass with the left hand.
He's much too quick on the inside for Hansen. That is a matchup which, even though Hansen's a good defender, he's never faced that kind of quickness.
Doliak in and out. Oh, that was Medela. In and out. Get it inside again, Jamison.
Jamison so quick getting that ball up. Catches and delivers in a hurry, usually on the way up on his jump shot.
Doliak, the center hits it.
How about this?
They call it a two.
That's not surprising. It is a two, but Doliak is 12 for 31 from three on the year. Pick and roll action.
Carter, three-pointer.
Good block out by Hansen.
That is Utah's specialty.
It really is. They are so well schooled at blocking out.
Look at Doliak beat him down court and one. An absolute spillover from the Arizona game here at the start.
Jai looking for help in there. He just didn't hustle getting back in there. Now, Shammond Williams comes into the game. People say, well, how can this guy playing so well not be a starter, Jim? But not unusual for North Carolina.
They have 6 starters, and they go in alphabetical order.
And this was not Williams' turn.
No, but that means if they get to Monday night, he gets to start. Doliak does not finish the three-point play. That would mean Carter would not start on Monday night for Carolina.
An 82% free throw shooter, so very good from the line.
Shammond right out, firing.
Good block out again by Hansen, and that time he had Okalaja.
But they're going to call it on Utah.
He had Okalaja with his elbow and was still able to catch the ball.
Jensen whistled for that one. Sophomore.
Here we'll see the foul. Shammond Williams trying to go up, and there you can see the push by Hansen. Pretty easy call.
Jai outside.
North Carolina not getting any offensive pattern going whatsoever.
Look at Miller pushing it up. No foul. Tipped over by Jai to a teammate, Okalaja.
How about Coder? Coder realized that he had a man behind him.
Jamison short.
2 in a row now that Jamison's had his shot often. Miller really pushing the ball.
Yeah, they're not slowing it down, and Miller takes it all the way for the lay-in.
Bill Guthridge is not one of those coaches that likes to call timeout to stem the tide early on.
The biggest tournament deficit for North Carolina. It had trailed UNC Charlotte by 8 for its previous biggest deficit.
Utah showing some very good defense. And what's interesting to me is North Carolina taken totally out of what they'd like to run. You saw Jai taking a shot. There's a shot by Cota, not his normal shot.
Carolina, Billy, 1 of 8 from the field at the start.
Well, Jim, anytime you're taking bad shot selection by the wrong guys, 2 things happen. Your percentages are going to go down, and the other thing is you get very few offensive rebounds because your teammates don't expect you to be taking a shot.
They bring in David Jackson, sophomore from Portland, in for Hansen. Jackson played 25 big minutes against Arizona last week.
He's on Williams.
often now they let the college players get away with that. You see it often in the NBA, never a whistle there.
Right.
But you've seen it leaking into the college game, and it's upsetting.
Well, both Miller and Cota are guys that have it down to a science. That time, you saw Williams had the ball actually right on his hip.
Jordy McTavish, number 11, in for Utah.
And North Carolina goes zone. Matching up out of the 2-3. North Carolina uses this defense a lot.
Goliak by Jamison, rejected by Jai. Shot clock still running down to 10. 7 on the shot clock. McTavish has spotted it. He saw the shot clock. Releases back to the rim. Okalaja, the only man underneath.
Pretty good defensive set that time by North Carolina in the zone.
Jai into the lane, taken away by the Utes.
Jai having a very poor start of this ball game, Jim, in regard to his decision processes.
Taking some bad shots,
bad
too.
shots, bad passes, nothing there. Didn't get back down on defense when Goliak put the ball away. Goliak's got him sealed right now. They ought to get him the ball. North Carolina goes back to their man-to-man.
McTavish, 3 from the corner. A 13-point lead for Utah.
Good double down recognition by Utah. McTavish just standing out there waiting for the shot. Rick Majerus going to his bench early here, Jim. Terrific job by Utah so far.
Jamison missed underneath, but forget about that one.
There's that quickness. Goliak a little winded right now.
Next dead ball will be an official timeout. Goliak got position on Jai, and they don't give him the clean block.
Well, what's happening? Goliak down in that low, Jim. He's only about 3 feet away from the rim. A solid post-up move, very well drilled. Jai in no position whatsoever to defend him there.
And Jai has 2 fouls in the game's first 5 minutes.
You see where he is? He's posted up. He's got Jai in his back. You have no chance to handle a 6'11" postman. That's 2 feet from the basket.
Doliak, all whack, leads the team in scoring and rebounding, and he was born right here in San Antonio. Went to high school in Portland, Oregon. His grandparents still live here in the Alamo City.
What do you think that the Arizona players are saying, Jim? This team's a lot better than what we thought. Terrific job by Utah to get started.
And North Carolina has found that out in the first 5 minutes. Utah storming in front, 17-4.
Jim, I'd like to point out right here, not only is Utah doing a great job, but North Carolina actually has helped them by not getting in offensive sets at all. Wrong guys taking shots at the wrong time. Let's see if they make any adjustment here.
Utah made 1 sub. Britton Johnson, a freshman in, and Carter gets his 2nd basket from the inside. All 3 Carolina baskets have been layups or dunks.
That was the movement inside Carter and Jamison. Cota with a great dish. North Carolina goes back to the 2-3 zone, matching up.
Britton Johnson, freshman, tipped out long to Cota.
Looking to run, Jamison great on the break.
Okalaja on the bounce pass, only perfect by Cota.
You know what happened right there? Jamison was almost a decoy for Cota running to his left. That opened up the lane for Okalaja. And North Carolina, with a score, stays in the zone. Johnson pretty active as a freshman coming up into the center of that zone, but then not turning in face looking for the shot. A lot of talking by North Carolina in that zone.
Medela hits the side of the backboard, and no new shot clock. They must look up. Miller doesn't realize it. 1 on the shot clock, now fired. Got it. And Johnson rebounds. That's goaltending.
How about Johnson? He stayed with the game on both occasions, kept the ball alive twice, got it back for Utah for a basket.
And how about Miller? He didn't realize it till the last moment. Got it off just in time.
North Carolina all stood around looking at the loose ball. Nobody went for it. Now Williams takes over the point. No jump defenses by Utah in this game, Jim. Just straight, hard-nosed, man-to-man.
As Majerus told us yesterday, that's what this team really loves to play, and that's what this season was built on. Good old-fashioned man-to-man defense. 10 on the shot clock for Carolina. Down 11.
Looking to go inside to Jamison.
Nettle up. Yep. Saw it just defenseless when Jamison.
Really is. The leading scorer and rebounder in the ACC this year. Last year he was #2 in both categories behind Tim Duncan.
Hansen is going to be a travel. Goliak will return for the Utes.
And Rick Majerus showing some confidence in the bench. You know, really, with that working margin, I'm sure he'd like to have kept Goliak on the floor because he was doing so well in the low post-up moves. But Rick Majerus realized this is a 40-minute game. He's got to rest him some.
He's already played 8 players.
I think North Carolina can really go inside to Jamison.
Takes the jumper this time, and Hansen comes in to get the board.
Look at Goliak. Pushing Jamison down underneath the basket. Really getting good low post position.
Johnson wildly puts it up. And last touch by Carolina.
Johnson so aggressive in this basketball game, Jim. Driving to the basket, getting rebounds.
He's got a brother who was on the team last year that made it to the final 8. His brother Jeff, who's on a Mormon mission to France. The Utah team that made it all the way to the final 8, only to be eliminated at the San Jose West Final by Kentucky last year.
He was a high school All-American. He's had a pretty good, he missed 8 weeks to start the season. Good turnaround jumper.
Goliak, he averages 16 a game. He's already got 8.
He is feasting on Jai. Carter thinks he's got an advantage on Jensen. Jensen fighting over the top nicely.
Williams passes inside. Carter.
Oh, how does he do it?
And Jai with a little shove to Johnson.
And now I think it's going to be Jamison on the shove. Did they call a foul or just a warning?
Just a warning. Coda will come back in for Carolina, but there's a timeout on the floor. Utah leads it, 21-12.
I understand there are 3 or 4 old buddies of his sleeping in his hotel room. I mean, please, Rick.
He hasn't got
one of them probably Al
sleep.
McGuire, who's too cheap to spring for a room. There's the man-to-man. North Carolina showing zone and man-to-man. Johnson, not shy for a freshman.
And he nails the 3.
Sometimes that happens. You know, a freshman in some cases can freeze up. In other cases, he just explodes. He doesn't even understand the pressure.
Jai with another outside shot. Tipped out to Coda.
White is holding. They're going to call a foul on Carter, who was down underneath Miller.
Near the conclusion of this game and every tournament game, Chevrolet selects the genuine Chevrolet most valuable player from each team. To date, Chevrolet has contributed $6.5 million to scholarship funds. Medela back in for Jensen.
Jim, when you start talking about how Utah plays and how tough it is to score against them, North Carolina's getting in dangerous territory here at the 10-minute mark. They have got to make a move. A 10-point lead or a 12-point lead by Utah is like a 15-8 in a normal game situation. So these possessions, even though the game's fairly early, are very important. Again?
Yes, why not? Johnson. Miller jumps in to tip it. Carolina ball.
Rick Majerus may have to talk to the freshman and say, you know, calm down. There will be other days.
They did make the last one.
Oh, I understand. Sometimes they can get carried away with their own enthusiasm.
Billy Guthridge. His 58 Kansas State team played in the Final Four and lost, in fact, to Elgin Baylor's Seattle team. Bill Guthridge did not get in that game.
And again, Goliak with a nice job on his part, making Jamison take the tough shot.
Utah fans upset. They called Medela for a push-off. his first.
I think what Jamison is going to have to do is try to get close to Goliak and not get away from him. In other words, get close and then spin off him. He's trying to play away from him. Goliak taking advantage of that. The quicker you are, the closer you want to be to your defender, then explode by.
Here they go, lobbing it inside.
Johnson, good defensive play. Carter normally finishes that.
We could possibly have the all-time winningest teams meeting in the championship on Monday night. Either that or Kentucky and Utah will meet for the 4th time in the last 6 NCAA tournaments. That's rather bizarre. Williams.
Good defense again. They're not giving Williams any good looks, and he can remember to just a year ago against Arizona where he couldn't make anything. Goliak on a push.
Goliak's first. Just the 4th team foul on Utah. Carolina has been whistled for 3.
Jim Williams, who has played so well throughout this postseason, but last year against Arizona, he was 1 for 13. You remember that?
And he's 0 for 2 tonight.
And he was 1 for 7 against Connecticut from 3. Another good defensive play by Utah.
Medela tipped it out to midcourt. Williams, no travel, steps in, rattles out.
Good job by Utah, again on the boards. That's the palm.
No ball, and Miller's shot bounces in. He had it on the hip also.
Without question. It's that delay dribble that both Cota and Miller use. There's the lob.
Over the top, and they get it to Jamison. No basket. No basket. Foul first on the outside, and it'll be the 2nd foul on Goliak.
You see some real panic in North Carolina's eyes on the court right now. As I said, they can look up at this scoreboard and see they're not moving in the right direction. Great job by Miller. Well, much like Turner, Wayne Turner from Kentucky, not afraid to take it inside.
Carolina's biggest deficit, 14. Goliak to the bench with 2. Carter, 3-pointer.
North Carolina not even coming close to hitting anything from the outside.
Miller looking for, this time he's called for a double dribble.
Tough break for Miller because he ran right into the back of a Carolina defender. And the reason for that is there was a little hold up getting back down court. I'm really surprised that North Carolina has not been able to get into any pattern of offense in this game, Jim.
They missed all 5 of their shots from 3-point land.
Right, it's one isolated shot after another. There's no continuity to what they're trying to do.
Jamison leaning in.
Not a good shot. Look at the blocking out, and there's going to be Jai. And look at the North Carolina players are losing their cool. No question about it.
And that's the 3rd on Jai. And they were going to sub him anyway, but they didn't get in. Haywood in time, Brendan Haywood, the 7-foot freshman from Greensboro. Okalaja also comes back.
Think about this North Carolina team. They lost to overtime at Maryland in a great basketball game. The surprising loss to NC State. And then, of course, the 1 loss to Duke at Duke. Other than that, this team has won them all, 34 wins.
And twice beating Duke in the other games against the Devils.
Right. There's that 2-3 zone again. Pretty nice move by Medela. Good patience by Utah. Johnson and Medela flashing into the 2-3 zone.
Miller now penetrates.
Oh, so beautiful.
The bounce.
So beautiful on that reverse dribble.
Coming off the triple-double. The perhaps single best performance by any player in this tournament.
Considering the game and the opponent, Jim, I would agree with you. Another good defensive play.
Almost got the steal. Quick hands of Carter, got it back. Carolina has missed its last 6 shots. Haywood. Too strong. Tips it in, though.
Now we have another freshman coming off of the bench doing the job for North Carolina.
And you really like Haywood's prospects down the line, huh?
He hasn't had a lot of playing time, but I think the young man's got a lot of potential. Today may be the day he's going to have to take that potential and turn it into performance.
Well, they've already got Jai on the bench with 3.
North Carolina loves to pin you on the baseline. Good help by Miller to create a passing lane.
Jackson, line drive 3. And Okalaja with a good job of boxing out. Carter, best three-point percentage on the Carolina team, steps in for a 2.
That's long to the right. Boy, Carter not doing anything with his shot.
Miller challenges Carter, and outside, Carter bumped him with the body.
How about what Miller does, Jim? You never know if he's going to take it all the way, whether he's going to use his reverse dribble on you, whether he's going to use his delayed dribble. He's not afraid to take it in, even against the Carter.
He's got another one of those games going, 6 points, 6 rebounds. Utah doubling up the heels.
I am really surprised to see a team that has been so good in regard to orchestrating their offense be thrown completely off track by this tough man-to-man by Utah. Very unlike them.
Inbounds, trying to get it to Medela. He wanted a foul call.
Well, Haywood did a pretty good job with his body.
Over the top, Jamison doubled up.
Well, how does he get that shot off? Medela did a terrific job on defense, and he still got it up.
Little shovel scoop by Jamison. He has 6.
Clear out. Jensen doesn't look to take Jamison. Medela can shoot that jumper out there. I think he's got an advantage on Haywood.
Jensen now will take the
is.
shot. Open 3. You bet.
That was the mismatch. A good job by Utah to recognize what was going on. Jamison's got to understand he's got to go out and play him.
5 of 11 from 3 for the Utes.
Doubling down, North Carolina really starting to panic here. It's amazing to watch a veteran team do this.
Facing now its biggest deficit. It's been increased to 15. Jamison again.
And look at the blocking out on the inside by all of those red shirts.
And Jamison tackled Miller, it looked like.
Sure. There's frustration out here, Jim. Even if you're the National Player of the Year, you realize you're being defended to the point where you're getting frustrated.
Jordy McTavish, sophomore from Salmon Arm, British Columbia, comes in for the Utes.
Well, the last time Rick Majerus was on the sideline in this kind of situation, he was, as you pointed out, Jim, an assistant. Marquette played North Carolina. North Carolina finally got control of that game and decided to go 4 corners, one of their traditional moves. Marquette stayed back in their zone, and it was North Carolina that broke. So Rick Majerus seems to be very confident on that sideline.
And that, again, was 21 years ago today. David Jackson,
Over the back.
Medela, no doubt,
He knows it.
on the back of the 7-foot Haywood, and that's the second on Medela.
North Carolina getting some solid minutes out of Haywood here. There's Tubby Smith walking out with reporters, getting a big hand.
Yeah, Kentucky fans, immediate standing ovation. Coda drives, puts it up over McTavish.
There's another push. Hansen got stuck inside, and I think it's going to be on Hansen, not Medela.
And that would be a big call against Medela.
No, I think it's going to be Hansen.
No, it's on Medela.
It is
His
on
third.
Jamison's going to go to the line. Jim, let me mention something about Jamison. I think it's well documented how his father moved up to Charlotte, North Carolina because of Hurricane Hugo. Antoine moved up with the family and kind of not felt comfortable in Charlotte. His father built him a backboard that supposedly was about 11 feet high. Now, kind of interesting here. When you shoot at a higher backboard, you have to put more arc on the ball. And I'm not so sure that that wasn't what helped him develop this very unique inside shooting style he has of putting the ball high up on the glass.
I can just see dads across the country tonight when this one ends, going outside and cranking up that goal, an extra foot. Jamison short.
North Carolina not playing with any confidence whatsoever in this ball game.
Miller, Jamison, and will it be Haywood?
In either case, Miller's going to go to the line. He's just beaming with confidence out there. Jim, the last triple-double that I can remember in a Final Four was Magic Johnson in the game against the University of Pennsylvania in the Final Four. This young man's on target again to have 2 in a row. Would that be amazing?
That was on Haywood, Billy. That would, indeed, for Andre Miller.
Magic had 2 triple-doubles in 1979 in the NCAA tournament, 1 in the Final Four.
Miller's got a chance for the old double-double by halftime. 7 rebounds for the 6'2" guard. Believed to be the first triple-double in Utah history. Cota comes back, Haywood out.
And here with 4:40 to go, if you're North Carolina, you have got to get yourself in position to stop panicking and try to get that down into about the 10 to 12 point mark.
Missed them both. Trace Caton, number 21, defending here, in for Utah for the first time. Carter turnaround. Pretty quick basket that time.
Right, good quick attack by North Carolina before Utah could get their defense set. Jensen getting a little more respect from Jamison now defensively. This is a small team that Utah has on the floor right now.
Miller got it.
Another rebound.
Left hand this time, Andre Miller.
Tremendous rebound, and figure he's made that over Carter, one of the best leapers in college basketball.
Well, there's some battle inside.
That's
Jensen and Jamison, and he'll call Jensen for the hold.
But you know what Rick Majerus is doing right now, Jim? He's got 3:59 to go. He's got a nice working margin, so he's got all his size sitting over on the bench resting. He's got a very small team on the game, hoping that he can go ahead and force some mismatches on the other end of the floor, even though he realizes he's given up an awful lot inside.
But one of his big guys forced to sit with 3 fouls. Hano Metal out. Here's Johnson back in, the freshman from Murray, Utah. Stoliak also sitting.
Everybody growing a goatee. Nice look there from the Utah players.
Jamison, again a 1-and-1, going awry. Utah ball. And a dead ball situation brings us to another timeout. Utah has never trailed, and the Utes cruising to a 15-point lead.
Jim, North Carolina shooting 32% from the field, 0 for 5 from 3. And now you've got to respect what Utah did to Arizona, holding them to 28% in that game. Really a scoring machine in Arizona. Now an open offense, no post player. Look at these screens. There's nobody in the low post. Everybody cutting, getting back screens. It's a tough offensive set for North Carolina to handle. Luckily for Bill Guthridge, he doesn't have a post man out there.
6 on the shot clock and a turnover. Check the CBS Sports Line stat of the game so far, and you'll see Carolina shooting 32%, which is exactly what Utah has held its first 4 tournament opponents to that average. Get all your tournament stats on cbs.sportsline.com.
And this is the man North Carolina has to get on track here before the half. That was a walk, bad pass inside.
Somehow it ends up in Cota's arms. Okalaja with a 3.
Oh,
Johnson.
Boy.
Couple of bodies really hit hard.
5 red shirts, Jim, around that rebound for Utah. None for Wake Forest, and there's a travel. I mean, none for North Carolina. Look at this inside. But, you know, that's designed by Utah. They can afford some fouls. They can put some bodies on North Carolina. Some smart coaching by Rick Majerus. And, of course, the great story there is the fact that Utah was not even supposed to be in the NCAA tournament. They opted for the NIT, went to New York, got beat by Kentucky, sent back packing, and took Arkansas's place in the NCAA and eventually won it.
Williams missing Okalaja, long rebound. Cota open 3.
This is an amazing lack of shooting ability. Great strip.
Payton reached in, and Carter was about to go up and jam it. And a foul on Carolina's Okalaja.
Tremendous strip by Caton down on the other end of the floor, because Carter would have been in a position to finish. You can see on the faces of the North Carolina players how frustrated they are.
Coming up on Pennzoil at the half, we'll go back up to Greg Gumbel, Clark Kellogg, Coach Smith, and they'll be joined by Kentucky coach Tubby Smith. That's on Pennzoil at the half. Miller at the line, shooting a 1-and-1.
chance to move it to 17.
Miss 2. Make it 3.
Those are big misses if you're Rick Majerus. You want to keep expanding this lead. North Carolina hasn't been able to get untracked at all with their outside shooting. I'd sure try. There's a double screen for Williams. They're trying to get him open.
The drive, left-hander.
And again, one shot and done. Utah sending 5 guys to the boards. Terrific blocking out.
We saw Majerus call that 20-second timeout a moment ago. What's he looking for between now and halftime? What's he want to go in
What
with?
he wants to do is have this open offense, save his big men. They don't have to be back out on the floor the rest of the way. He's got a working margin here. He's going to make North Carolina really play this cutting half-court offense.
7 on the shot clock. Jackson will now drive, pitch to the corner. Payton, air ball.
But Rick Majerus stole about 25 seconds there, Jim.
Underneath, Carter, followed up by Jamison.
But still, North Carolina, Jim, getting nothing out of traditional half-court offense. Jamison tucking his shirt in his pants, trying to get this club fired up. Ball's in the hands of the right guy now in Miller.
Hansen stuck underneath. Jackson would have put up the 3, but he bobbled it for a moment. Ball loose.
North Carolina can do nothing right here.
But they get the loose ball in the end. Under a minute to play in the half. Jamison, quick turnaround. Boy, that's his shot.
Exactly. I've never seen him miss that shot.
Utah on the break. Over to Payton for the layup. Assist there for Andre Miller.
Every time it seems like North Carolina has with it, and even the coaching staff at the University of North Carolina, Phil Ford, with their heads down, they cannot believe that Antoine Jamison could miss a shot like that.
3-second differential, Gamecock the shot clock.
Rick Majerus telling his guys to be passive right here, not to reach out and make any steals, just be solid.
Inside, Carter, Jansen.
Bill Guthrie's wanting his team to press full court, but that's not really their game.
Watch Miller now, last 5 seconds. Gives it up to Payton. Steps back, takes the 3.
I think it would have been smart for Miller to keep that ball himself and penetrate.
All right. Rick Majerus and his Utes, 29-3 on the year with losses to only New Mexico, Wyoming, and UNLV, and all those losses were close games too.
And Jim, let me point out, North Carolina at halftime's been down 9 times this year, where were in a deficit situation at halftime, came back to win 7 of those games.
But this is the biggest halftime deficit of the year for Carolina.
And Utah, with that hard-nosed man-to-man defense, comes right back out in the second half like they started the ball game. Miller dropping off. You see how much they're doubling down, because they're going to give Cota that outside shot. They're going to give Okalaja the outside shot. And certainly Jai the outside shot.
Jamison, hook shot.
Boy, he's having a terrible evening.
Now 4 for 13. Medela starts the second half for the Utes with his 3 fouls.
What Doliak is not trying to block Jamison's shot. He's just getting in position to rebound the miss.
Jai on the floor with his 3. Doliak right over Jai.
Jai did no factor tonight on Doliak. Doliak wants the ball inside. He's just overpowering the defense. You can see Utah not even guarding the outside jump shot. They don't want the outside jump shot. Williams would love to go into ball game. He's the one shooter that you would think could get him on track, but he didn't start in this game due to that rotation that North Carolina uses.
In they get it to Jai. And that call against Hansen. In the first half, Carolina shot 31%, but 0 for 8 from behind the arc, and they were 0 for 2 from the line, with Jamison missing front ends of 1 and 1 twice. Jai at the line for 2.
Young man who started at Wake Forest and moved on to Michigan. And then Roy Williams got him back at North Carolina. He's played for 3 universities in his career.
He's been around in college basketball, and he's really like the last tie to the old Fab Five at Michigan.
Absolutely. Came into Wake Forest as the most highly recruited guy above Tim Duncan and Ricky Peral. Everybody knows what Duncan accomplished. North Carolina misses 2.
They're now 0 for 4 from the line. Medela.
And you see Jamison respected Medela's ability to hit the jumper.
Doliak, he can shoot the jumper.
Maybe not the shot Rick Majerus would like right now. Rick talked about better shot selection.
Carter drives right past Jensen.
And North Carolina, Jim, is not a pressing team to come back a la Kentucky, which does it so well. They create the comebacks with pressure defense. North Carolina usually with precision offense, but they haven't shown any of that tonight. Trying to go through the screen. Jai again coming up with some lip. Now he almost got North Carolina in the all-time bad situation in the Duke situation. You'll see Jai trying to fight through the screen, throws an elbow right in the jaw. Matter of fact, I think that was flagrant. Jai should have been sitting over on the bench next to the coaching staff.
Jai pleaded that he didn't even foul the guy.
Yeah, ridiculous. And
it's
Rick
his
Majerus,
4th.
Rick is right. That could have been easily called a flagrant foul by Jai. Rick has been so calm on that sideline, orchestrating this team just to perfection.
Medela baseliner and a foul.
Hit on the elbow. Excellent call.
Jamison, by the way, had been wearing brand new shoes at the start of the game, and he changed back to his old ones at halftime.
Well, you have a half like he had, Jim. You try to do anything you can. Change your number, change your shoes. I saw the North Carolina coaching staff huddled together for a long time down in the hallway. They had not even gone into the locker room.
Jamison won't have to change that number. That's a number that will be hanging from the rafters of the Dean Dome since he's a National Player of the Year, won our CBS Player of the Year, AP, really consensus. And once you do that, Carolina puts the number up.
Absolutely. And widening of the margin up to 15. North Carolina still not showing that they can make an outside shot.
Underneath, Cota.
Good dribbling move, but Hansen really doing the job on Williams. He's not giving him any good looks at all.
Medela got Jamison to leave his feet and blew by him for the dunk.
And no help from the weak side from North Carolina. They normally try to force you to drive baseline. Great job by Medela.
6'10" sophomore from Helsinki, Finland.
And Williams has to be careful not to try to start rushing some shots.
Williams gets it in. Jamison answers right back.
North Carolina now starting to pound that ball down inside, but they still can't break down this margin at all.
Carolina, all of its points coming inside the paint, in the paint.
Nice step out.
Surprised he didn't take it.
Yeah, Jensen should have probably taken it.
Doliak.
Oh, Jai gets caught under the basket. Doliak showing the outside shot, the inside power moves. There's the medium range jumper. Another thing, you see Utah not giving North Carolina any backdoor cuts.
Okalaja.
Wow. Not only are the shots missing,
They got Jensen ahead. Okalaja defending. Jensen uses his body, and Jai with a good tip that time over to Okalaja. Williams, his first
Finally.
of the day after 5 misses.
finally,
And a
Bill Guthridge
three.
has something to
Yeah.
talk about.
Carolina's first 3 of the game.
Well, you feel comfortable if you're Utah and the ball's in Miller's hands. That's
And
all
that's it for
Jai.
Jai.
isn't it?
He lasts just 4 minutes, 15 seconds into the second half.
And give Doliak and Rick Majerus and all of the fundamental work they do for low post-up moves a lot of credit there. He put Jai in a position where he just couldn't handle it.
fouling out for the 9th time this season.
And North Carolina is going to go small in this situation. I thought we might see Bill Guthridge go with Hayward, who had a pretty good first half. I was mentioning before, Jim, in the game at Carolina, where Carolina was in total control of Duke University, Duke University made a comeback. Jai committed a foul and then a technical. Duke got it down to 4. Then North Carolina got on a tremendous run and won that ball game. But he sits down early in this one.
Here's a player at the line who did not make his high school team, imagine this, until his junior year and was really deep on the bench. Between his junior and senior year in high school, he went to a Rick Majerus camp in Salt Lake City, and Majerus offered him a scholarship. This guy didn't even play in high school. Off that, he goes back to Oregon, does Doliak, and becomes the Oregon High School Player of the Year his senior year. Utah by 13 in the second half. From the start in the second, leading by 13, but Shammond Williams has hit a 3, and he's had horrible luck at the Final Four. 1 for 13 last year, now 1 of 6 tonight. But he made his last one.
Utah, nothing cute defensively. That ball was kicked and a good break for Utah.
Miller looking for a seam.
Oh, great shot.
Tough shot.
Great shot on the break.
10 points for Miller.
Jim, you mentioned Kentucky going to the final game. It's the 5th straight year an SEC team has appeared in the men's national championship. 5 straight years, not bad for any league.
Boy, that's tremendous. 8 Final Fours for the SEC the last 6 years.
See, North Carolina doesn't even want. Look at how hesitant they are. They didn't want the shot.
Jamison way off.
Off to the right and short. You're looking at one team with supreme confidence and one team that's starting to really get nervous out there. As I said, supreme confidence from a freshman.
Back of the rim, Blues on the 3. Shammond now looking to penetrate. Gets shut down baseline. Inside, Carter lost the handle, flips it though to Jamison. Looked like a clean block by Johnson. They do, they call it a jump ball, and the arrow belongs to Utah.
Jim, you were on it. I thought this is a terrific shot by Miller inside. And Johnson did a terrific job on Jamison in here. Look at this. All ball. Terrific call.
Everyone in the arena, though, just assumed it would be a foul.
Other than my broadcast partner.
46-31. And Jordy McTavish handles the ball now for the Utes.
Nobody told that freshman that Jamison was National Player of the Year.
Medela with a 3.
If Medela would have been a little bit more patient, he had Jensen cutting down the lane wide open.
Again, Carolina unable to penetrate this double-digit lead. It's been that way most of the game. Cota.
Well, he got McTavish. He's a little bit too tough for him in there. But Rick Majerus doing a great job again, utilizing his bench, rotating players.
Medela, tough pass off North Carolina, though.
What Rick Majerus is doing right now is stealing some minutes. He puts Doliak on the bench. He puts Miller on the bench. He's just going to rest him and hope that he can maintain a nice working margin here.
Johnson, freshman, shoots again. That's a 2.
Nobody told him this is a big game. Young man missed 8 weeks of preseason training.
Hold on McTavish.
Jim, another thing that's kind of interesting in this game, not only is Utah playing great basketball defensively, but they're not putting North Carolina on the foul line. North Carolina this year shot 930 free throws, and their opponent only 520. So you can see Utah's actually got an advantage in this game.
Averaging 25 free throw attempts a game. And they're 0 for 4 in this one.
Nice defense by Hansen. Great defense.
Steals it just right away. Picks his pocket, does Hansen.
Just sensational defense. Hansen sitting right down on Shammond Williams. North Carolina's probably going to have to set some screens to get him free. He can't get a shot off.
Medela and Jamison forced that turnover.
shot. Even if it goes, it was a bad shot.
14 for Carter. That's tops for the Heels.
Miller back in the game now. Rick Majerus got him a nice little 2-minute rest. North Carolina goes to the zone.
And Doliak goes to the scorer's table.
As I said, North Carolina is a team that really doesn't put pressure on you defensively to come back in a ball game. They try to do it with their offense.
Into Medela, rejected by Carter. Big plays at both ends by Carter. Carolina trying to get a spurt. Okalaja.
Beautiful shot.
Put the spin on it, Billy. That's what he did.
That was a very, very difficult layup.
Now they got it down to 11.
And Miller just walks it down the floor. Nice flash by Jensen.
Jensen open.
Jim, what Utah is doing to this 2-3 zone is not having anybody in the post and flashing men to the foul line right in the open area and then taking advantage of it, as Jensen did there. Double down.
Dakota.
North Carolina now starting to get much more proficient on the offensive end of the floor. This is the kind of team you normally see executing well down there.
First time today they score on 3 straight trips.
Miller looking like he wanted to post up Williams.
Battle with the head fake. Johnson picks up the loose ball. No whistle. Okalaja with the block.
Jamison free.
How about Williams?
Short
for
on
a 3. Carter tip. Vince Carter and Antoine Jamison, and Carolina starting to get things going. They brought it under 10 now. The last time it was below 10 was with an 11.5-minute time on the clock in the first half. Timeout on the floor.
When he played. And Dick Hart had 5 for Kansas when he played. So of those coaches, they're the leading scorers. 5 each.
See how Utah reacts to this Carolina run.
Well, you'd think they'd let Doliak touch it at least one time on this possession. There he is, posting up inside. He is so strong.
Miller takes outside, goes inside. Jamison snags the rebound.
I'm surprised they didn't let Doliak touch it. Good.
Jensen helps out on Doliak to force the steal.
And Jamison slow getting up.
Miller driving,
And
puts
put
it back. Wow, Andre Miller. Billy, his numbers now 12 points, 12 rebounds.
That was a huge putback. North Carolina gets the ball down inside. Here we have Shamon Williams tying his shoe, so they're really playing 5-on-4. Doliak just too strong for Jamison inside. He's not letting him get position.
Williams 3.
The fadeaway shot, not good.
Look at Miller. And comes out with it. What wizardry. Ahead to Jensen. Waits and scores. He let Okalaja go flying through.
Now, Jim, even though Maktar Jai was not having a good game, what Bill Guthridge is faced with right now is he's got 5 guys out on the floor that don't have the normal sub. They only play with 6 men. So you make a great comeback, you exert a lot of energy. Do you have anything left for the next push? You get it down under 10, can you get it down to 4? Doesn't look like that's the case.
Jamison.
There's that 11-foot basket I was talking to you about the shot over a 6'11 man.
Yeah, high arcing shot.
Yep. Doliak walking down the floor. Rick Majerus now starting to milk a little clock.
10 on the shot clock.
Carter on Miller. Now this is a pretty good matchup right here. Reverse dribble maybe?
Doliak blocked.
Carter, great defensive play.
Ahead to Williams. Bounce pass over to Jamison. Almost lost control of
How
it.
did he get control?
He got it back in time to bank it in.
Now, you know, Doliak, Jim, has been walking down the floor. Do you think he's tired from all this pushing? He should be in better shape the rest he's had than should Okalaja. He's giving up probably 25 pounds and some size.
Well, here he is. Carter commits. Doliak waits and scores.
And now Bill Guthridge has to go in with a sub. Haywood comes in. He's going to be guarding Goliak. Senior against freshman. You got to like Utah's situation there.
Carolina, though, scoring almost every trip now. Foul outside on Jackson.
See the pass down inside. Jamison, you'll see this hard shot to make. He loses it. The ball's on his shoulder. How he ever recovered, I'll never know.
Almost behind the head.
Jamison joins Christian Laettner, who did it in 1992 as the only ACC players to be ACC Player of the Year, ACC Tournament MVP, NCAA Regional MVP, and National Player of the Year. Not a bad season, huh?
And may come back. May come back for his senior year. He says he likes what's happened to Van Horn and Duncan, who stayed all four, the way they played after 4 years of college ball.
And you notice something, Jamison has not gotten any offensive putbacks, Jim. That's because of the great block out by Utah.
Had just one in the first half. That's it, but he usually feasts on those.
Exactly. You know, when you see a missed shot and he's on inside position because of his quickness, that second jump of his usually gets the ball.
Under 8 minutes to go. Utah has led the entire way.
Miller takes Williams inside.
Too strong with the shot. Okalaja clears.
Nice job by Johnson. You notice he came back, took away the pass.
Way out there, Williams. They are now 1 of 15 from 3. A disaster from behind the arc, and we've got a whistle under 8. This is almost a facsimile of the Arizona game.
Tonight, Shammond Williams has 1 shot out of 9 from 3.
And that's after 1 of 13 last year. Williams was so distraught when they lost to Arizona and his shot was off. When they got back to North Carolina the next day on that Sunday, he went straight to the Dome that Sunday night, nearing midnight, and shot for 90 minutes alone in the Dean Dome. And they said it's been his mission all season to get back to atone that performance a year ago, but it's similar numbers for Shammond.
I'll tell you what, I think another adjustment North Carolina could make right now. And Jamison having all kinds of problems, but another adjustment they can make defensively, put Carter on Miller. I think Miller is going to be a big factor the rest of the game for Utah. Carter by far North Carolina's best defender.
Williams pushed outside by Hansen. Looked like they would have counted the basket. They say in the act of shooting.
Here we see Miller, who seems to be everywhere in the games we've watched in this NCAA tournament. He goes inside, rebounds, gets his hands on a lot of balls.
He has 14 rebounds, Miller, which ties his career high, which he set in that triple-double performance against Arizona.
Now, if there's ever a way to get your shooter back in rhythm is to take a 90% free throw shooter and get him on the line to get the stroke going.
Haywood in for the Heels.
And that is probably going to be about a 1:30 substitution move just to give Jamison a little rest.
Got them both.
Here's that matchup I was talking about. Miller goes over the top of Shammond Williams, but he wouldn't be able to do that with Carter.
Doliak, Haywood reaching in.
Doliak was going to take, there's a switch right here. Jensen was the open man.
Miller says, I'll take it, go ahead. Cota pulls it down.
Not a good possession for Utah.
The 2 free throws by Shammond on the last trip were the first 2 made by Carolina in the game.
And Shammond Williams gets fouled again. The one thing you don't want to do, and they're not ready for that yet, is to get him on the foul line.
Miller with his first. Imagine that Carolina took almost 34 minutes in the game before it made a free throw.
How about this? Miller's first foul of the game.
Yeah.
I mean, you
as
talk
active
about,
as he is, how does that work?
Exactly. As positive he's been.
Shammond can't get any kind of streak going, and Doliak boxing out. It's why Majerus says we're the best rebounding team in the country because we're the best blockout team, and they're proving it here.
Jamison ready to come back in. He'll be taking Haywood's place, I'm sure.
Into Medela.
He was fouled.
Haywood got him on the wrist. No call.
And you see Doliak's not going to guard Haywood until he goes out to set the screen. Then they get the hedge move.
Okalaja wants to drive on Medela. Medela got a hand on the shot.
Jensen, Hansen have just been tougher than the North Carolina players in this game inside. Wise move by Miller.
Well, you're North Carolina, you look up, there's only 5 minutes to play. And a timeout of 20 called by Rick Majerus. As Sarah Haggerty passed away. Rick had known Sarah since he was a baby. She'd come out and participated in his camps. Here's Medela with a three. Under 5 to play, Billy.
That was a pretty good possession. Rick Majerus really setting up what he wanted.
Carter.
Terrific defensive play.
Haywood saves it. Oh, right into the arms of Williams.
But he wasn't ready to shoot.
Jamison puts up the shot. Utah ball looked like it was off the Utes.
But give the credit. Jensen and Hansen just have been battling inside, giving up size, still doing it. Let's see right here. I would have had to say that they missed that one. That looked like that was North Carolina ball. We're going to see if they're going to change that call. I believe that was a North Carolina ball. You see it touched. There it's touched by Utah. Again by Utah, no question, North Carolina ball. Great piece of officiating.
Call is overturned, so the Tar Heels, who have trailed by as many as 15 in the second half, are down 9. It's as close as they've been in the second stanza.
Best three-point man, Jim, hadn't been able to buy one.
Carter, he can shoot it, though. He has the best percentage, and he's brought him down to within 6.
And now we're seeing the high screens by Doliak. Miller starting to control the game a lot more.
Medela had an open three, never looked.
No, he didn't look.
4 minutes to play. Miller drives, whistle on Carolina.
Good give and go that time. That's what makes Miller so tough. He can do it with the ball in his hands. He can do it without the ball, and he's so strong going inside.
Checking out the CBS Sports Line stat of the game, three-point shooting. That was just the second three-pointer for North Carolina in the game.
Young man at 70 steals, a new school record. We should have known about the fact that he had the potential to be this kind of player. 157 assists last year. In the NCAA tournament, he had a 14-5 and 7 assists against Iowa State. Maybe getting a little tired here, huh?
They come up short. That's always your first suspicion.
Yep.
Haywood out. Okalaja back in.
So Haywood gave them that, in effect, 6-man rotation.
And Miller now is 0 for 4 from the line.
And normally a very good free throw shooter.
Got one at last. The under 4 timeout. 57-50. Utes trying to hold on.
They're in a situation right now where they've got to commit a couple of fouls to even get to that point. It's too early to be fouling to get possession. And let's look at the defense. For the first time tonight, Utah goes to the triangle and 2.
It's back again.
Triangle and 2. Try to keep Williams from getting on a roll.
Set 66, Rick calls it.
How about that? Triangle and 2.
And before the Arizona regional final game, they'd only practice it for the season about an hour.
Now the key are who are the 2 guys they're guarding. They've got Williams in a man-to-man. And they've got Carter man-to-man.
Oh, Elijah with the three-pointer, and it's down to 4. Hold on, they might be checking to see. Whether that's a 3 or a 2.
Well, the referees are not in a position to go ahead and check whether it's a 3 or a 2. They don't have the right to do that over there at the official scorers table. You'll see Okalaja stepping out. No question he's behind the line. Clearly a 3, so that's not the reason. It may have to do, Jim, with how much time went off the clock.
Well, they came out of the break with 3:58 on the clock, and that possession did not take 36 seconds.
So they may be, that's what it's about.
That's what it is.
See, time on that clock is something that they had a chance to review and have the right to review.
Cannot review whether the foot is on the line.
Absolutely not.
So they add 4 seconds, 3:26 remaining. More importantly, Tar Heels have come back 15 down in the second half. It's now only a 4-point deficit and a near steal.
Good hands by
Dolia.
Now, what does Rick Majerus want to do? Is he going to take advantage in a situation like that where they had the numbers to go for the score? Or is he going to try to use clock and use Doliak? There's Doliak.
Doliak jumper goes awry. They've gone now over 5 minutes without a field goal. Williams, yes, he'll take it. Second thought.
You're exactly right, Jim. A second thought jump shot, you don't make many of those. And they didn't need that quick a 3.
2:40 remaining.
I can't believe that Miller is not coming out and getting the ball in his hands more.
Doliak, tough pass. Okalaja forced the steal. Williams in the lane. Okalaja pushed by Jensen. But again, we're not on a 1-and-1 on either side. Third on Jensen.
Twisted his ankle a little bit, and again, as I said, North Carolina used a 6-man rotation all year long, but they did not have Makdar Jai from about the 15-minute mark. You can see right here the push, and down goes Okalaja. I think they'd be smart, put the ball in Miller's hands and let him penetrate down inside. You've got to figure North Carolina, with very few substitutions, got to be the more tired of the two teams. Taking a lot of time here to get into their set.
Cota. Cota hits the jumper. 2-point game, 2 minutes to play. Timeout. North Carolina got a 20 before the inbound.
Now, did any time go off that clock?
I think 3 seconds did.
I did too. I think that he should go back and look again because the ball was never inbounded. May I correct you on something, Jim? This man was a head coach in the Final Four. Do you remember when Dean Smith was ousted against Kansas?
1991.
Right, Bill Guthridge took over on the bench.
That was with just a couple of minutes to play. Miller, 2-on-1, gets the basket.
That's a good move by Miller. Put the ball in his hands, let him penetrate.
Over the top, and Utah called for the hold. So it'll be a 1-and-1 now.
And you see Miller, great crossover, dribble, and fake, and there's that power he has to be able to take that ball inside. You know how tired he has to be, but if you're Rick Majerus, you got to feel comfortable when he's got that ball.
Vince Carter at the line, a 1-and-1.
But North Carolina against UNC Charlotte. They made 17 straight key free throws. There's a foul.
Foul on Jamison. They've made only 2 of 7 from the line in this game, and they've missed 3 front ends of 1-and-1.
Now, that in effect was a pretty good foul by Jamison because it stops the clock and adds to the opportunity that they can get close to putting Utah on the line some.
Here comes the full court pressure.
Medela and Doliak have both been good at coming back to beating the ball against pressure.
Medela had 3 fouls in the first half, has not been called for one in the second. Gone the whole way. Doliak had position, and he's tripped by Okalaja.
And here again is where it's great to have a big man that can shoot free throws.
But it's not a one-and-one
no, it's
yet,
not
Billy.
one-and-one, but what I'm saying is they're going to pound that ball in there between Miller and Doliak. Doliak, a good free throw shooter, so it's not like we had in the first game with Wayne Turner. You got your point guard, not a good free throw shooter.
The next one on Carolina will put Utah at the line for a one-and-one.
Bill Guthridge probably appreciates that some. You stop the clock.
Just 1:26 to play. Out high, Cota almost got to it.
Again, Doliak, the outlet pass man. North Carolina drops back in their zone. Boy, this interesting to let this much time go off the clock. They were back in the zone. Now they pick up man-to-man.
Medela driving, slicing, and Utah ball off Jamison.
The power inside by Utah players just knocked that ball loose. And he's got great hands. This is an important stop for North Carolina here. Trapping defense.
Oh, tough pass.
The ball is hit.
Tipped by Carolina.
By Carter. McGuire's team came away victorious.
It was a Carolina team, as I remember, depleted by injury. And Jensen has to call a timeout.
Pretty good defensive overplays by North Carolina.
A full timeout by the Utes. Had it gone their way, the arrow, they would have had possession with a shot for victory.
Jim, you can throw backwards right here, which is what Utah may do. No, they go ahead and attack with Miller.
Miller takes it back outside.
North Carolina now going into a trapping mode.
And a foul on Carter. It's a one-and-one for Drew Hansen, a 3.99 student in his entire career at Utah. He's had all A's but one A-.
And Jim, that doesn't help you when you're a 61% free throw shooter.
You wish you had those same kind of numbers or percentages at the line, but Hansen to shoot one-and-one.
By the way, for those that are really interested, that was judicial process 512.
They made the A-.
Yeah, don't sign up for it next semester if you're a Utah student.
He's trying to get into the Michigan Law School. I think you got to do it, Michigan. I'd give him another full A for that one, for those two. 61-56.
Got to be thinking three now if you're North Carolina, if you get an open look at it. And there is a great defensive play by Miller.
The knee of Cota. Forced by Miller.
Miller with a tremendous defensive play against one of the real top-notch ball handlers in college basketball. Again, Doliak, the man that comes back to catch the ball, and now you put your big man who can catch the ball on the foul line. And Rick Majerus says no fouls. All he wants to do now is to run that clock off.
38 seconds to go. The Majerus family is here. His sisters, Jody and Tracy.
His mom's
mother, Alice, was here in from Milwaukee, and she can't take it. She's not in the area. She was sitting right with the two daughters earlier. Doliak increases it to 6.
The young man wants to someday, after a pro career, be a surgeon. He's carving them up right now, isn't he? Misses a second.
Williams will take the 2, and a timeout. Carolina, it leaves them with 1. Each team with 1 full timeout. A half minute to go in the second semifinal. The Utes leading over Carolina by 5. Utah ball, 5-point lead, 30 seconds to play, each team with 1 timeout. And that'll send Medela to the line for a 1-and-1.
And what Bill Guthridge is going to do now, Jim, is try to extend this game a la Mike Montgomery in the Rhode Island game. You try to take the last 30 minutes and make them seem like 3 minutes for the last 30 seconds.
Hanno Medela from Helsinki, a sophomore who actually was a high school exchange student for 1 year He exchanged with a high school in San Antonio, went to Churchill High School in San Antonio, and was ineligible to play basketball. So he came here, spent a year, didn't play any basketball, so he comes back as a youth to play here for the first time.
Making up for it now. Rick Majerus tells his backcourt players no fouls. Ball game.
7-point Utah lead. Carter, 3, air.
Kentucky in 1948 won a national championship 50 years ago. The Fabulous Five. In 1944, Utah did. It looks like they're going to match up. The teams of the 40s come together in the 90s.
But these two programs, Utah and Kentucky, in the 90s, as Miller has the 2-on-1, Jamison lands on him, will meet. This is such a quirk in the NCAA tournament brackets. They will meet for the 4th time in the 90s in the tournament.
And Kentucky has won all 3. Matter of fact, Rick Majerus said, we've had a great NCAA tournament, except running into Kentucky. Put me in another bracket and I can get to a Final Four. This year he gets in a different bracket and he's here.
Not only has Kentucky knocked Utah out 3 of the last 5 years, they beat them 83-62 in 93, 101-70 2 years ago, and last year 72-59. Andre Miller's
this is about the only
mother watching.
Right, about the only negative thing for Utah or Andre tonight has been his free throw shooting.
You know, they were in that game with 4 minutes to go with Kentucky, and then Miller suffered a hand injury, and that really dashed the Utes' hopes. Last year was the first time they were competitive with Kentucky in this tournament series.
Wow.
Carter gets the putback, 12 seconds to play, timeout Carolina.
And Jim, let's not let history lead to the future, because North Carolina had a 7-1 margin on Utah coming into this game.
We'll be right back.
You have to have 2 threes, some steals. You know that North Carolina is going to try to foul immediately.
They do. Medela.
Medela should have just tapped that ball and not got fouled. We saw Rick Majerus orchestrate how he handles the press when he was preparing to play against UNLV when we had them earlier this year. They love to attack the press by going over the top. The reason they're able to do that is their 2 big men can come back and catch the ball and make a pass, unlike most guys in college basketball. Medela and Doliak really good at it. I don't think I've ever seen Rick Majerus so calm throughout the course of the game. Of course, when you got the leads he's at, I guess you can be.
Hey, when you jump out, as Utah did, to a first-half lead at one time, well, it was 17-4 with the first break. Let's put it that way. Medela.
This is 2.
This is 2.
How about 2 threes? You've got to go for 3s.
Okalaja takes it. Short. And off Utah. But only 2.7 seconds to go. We'll have a Cinderella on Monday night.
And Jim, where are all the #1 seeds?
They'll all be at home. Okalaja misfires at the end, and you better believe it, Utah is in the national championship game. A final kiss to the Final Four floor by Antoine Jamison. I don't know, will that symbolize the end of his magnificent college career? He has 1 more year of eligibility.